When we talk about blending a family together, most of the time we're talking about blending together people. But today, we're talking about blending together the stuff. You're not going to want to miss this. I'm Cameron. I spent years building my career and creating a life I loved. And when my Prince Charming finally showed up, he had 4 kids in tow. Fast forward through lots of mistakes made and lessons learned, step family life was much more complicated than I realized. If you're looking for help with blended family life, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Stepmom Diaries, where we keep it real as we dish about all the things. This is your weekly dose of blended family inspiration and encouragement. You're not the wicked stepmother, so let me help you find your fairy tale ending. Come on, let's do this. If you've listened to the Stepmom Diaries for a little while, you know that this time last year, I had a series of interviews with the speakers of the Stepmom Summit last summer. Well, last summer was our first Stepmom Summit, and Beth of the Inclusive Stepmom, my co-founder, and I were completely blown away by how much stepmoms needed this summit and the amount of stepmoms that showed up and the amount of stepmoms that got to know each other, got to know our speakers. It was truly a magical 3 days. So we are holding our second Stepmom Summit coming up August 25th to 27th. You can head over to thestepmomsummit.com and get on the wait list to be sure you don't miss your chance to get your free ticket. And today I am kicking off another series with some of our amazing speakers from the summit. And we're kicking off today with Tamara Harris of Designing Your Way Home. And it's a topic that I find really interesting. We're talking about, she's an interior designer, but we're not talking just about interior design. We are talking about how to decorate when you're blending not just your family, but all your stuff. And, that's a part of blended family life that I think a lot of us sort of forget about as we're trying to deal with all the complicated dynamics and, do the kids like us and dealing with exes and, all that kind of stuff. It's easy to forget about how to merge households, right? How to create a home that you enjoy being in, how to do it easily, how to do it, on a budget. And you can find yourself getting really overwhelmed. So we're talking about that today. And Tamara is going to have a couple of really awesome free resources for you. And you're going to get a little bit of a sneak peek into what she's going to talk about at this year's summit. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I know I did. And just a reminder, you can go to thestepmomsummit.com to get on the wait list for the free tickets for August 25th to 27th. And I will have all the links in the show notes, including links to a couple of freebies that Tamara is going to mention that I think you are really going to enjoy. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm so excited. Today we have Tamara Harris here. She is the owner and interior decorator at Design Your Way Home. She is a self-described house nerd on a mission to stop decorating overwhelm, second guessing, and regret purchases so you can confidently turn your house into a home you love. Design Your Way Home offers step-by-step home decor training for busy women so that you can easily decorate without breaking the bank, or you can work with Tamara one-on-one by scheduling a VIP decor experience. Tamara and I actually first met each other a couple of years ago in a small kind of VIP business group headed by Ruth Sukup. And I'm so excited that Tamara is here. And I also want to mention that Tamara is going to be one of our speakers at the 2022 Stepmom Summit, which is coming up August 25th to 27th. You can head over to thestepmomsummit.com and get on the wait list for tickets. It's free. And I'm really excited because she's talking about an area that we haven't really talked a whole lot about as stepmoms, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, let me welcome Tamara. Hello. I'm so happy you're here.
Hey, Cameron, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah. So let's start out. Tell me a little bit more about your background. I know you're an interior designer, but tell us what your path was to get there. What is your background?
I have a very unconventional pathway. So the house nerd title comes from like being a kid, and I don't know where most kids were going and asking their parents to take them, but I asked my parents to take me to the subdivision behind us to go look at houses. Like that was my form of entertainment.
I love
So
that.
much so that when I got my license at 16, that was like the first thing I wanted to do. So I've always loved the beauty of houses. Studied architecture for a few years in undergrad, realized that that wasn't how I wanted to do things, but I couldn't quite figure it out until really when I moved into my current home about 7 years ago and just really struggled like decorating it. And I'll spare you the long drawn out story, but overall, I recognize that it was me. It wasn't the home. The other houses I had, I would say, "Oh, it's the home. I just need to move. When I have a better looking home, I can decorate it." But this home was decorated as the model home when we purchased, and so I saw firsthand how gorgeous my home could look. And I thought that when I moved in, I could do it until I realized I couldn't. And so that's when I kind of went on a mission to figure out like how to decorate. And in corporate America, I am a project manager slash business analyst. And those are just fancy titles for someone that takes complex information and breaks it down into easy to understand tasks. And when I took that natural talent that I have and put it into decorating, that's how I was able to like fish through all the like difficult decorating stuff. It shouldn't be so difficult and just find a way to make it easy.
Well, that's amazing. And I think, you have hit on something that I have definitely experienced. It's like you get all of the catalogs in the mail or looking
Mhm.
online. I know we don't do much in the mail anymore, but, you look at these beautifully decorated homes and, whether it's Pottery Barn or Architectural Digest or, whatever it is, you look at it and you're like, well, I could do that. And it looks really simple because it's all pulled together. And then when you go to do it, you're like, okay, I know when it looks pretty, but I don't think I know how to get there, and I
Right.
think it's a little intimidating for people, right?
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, what do you think the biggest challenge is for people trying to decorate and especially on a budget when they move into a new place or even if they're trying to redo their house? I mean, I know for me in the past, it's been sort of that sense of just overwhelming, sort of a little intimidation. Like there's so much and I just don't really know where to start. But what have you found with the people you've worked with? What do they really struggle with?
So overall, people struggle with feeling overwhelmed, getting frustrated, making a ton of regret purchases, which unfortunately is a loop. Like when you tend to shop on a whim and you make a regret purchase, and then you feel bad, and then you wait a long time before you do it again, and then you make another impulse purchase. It's this terrible cycle.
I love that
And
term
the
regret
other thing,
purchase.
yes, and the other thing is second guessing yourself. So um, just staying in a loop of indecision. Those are what I see a lot of people that I come in contact with struggle with the most. And in terms of a budget, I think a lot of people don't believe that they can decorate within their current budget. That's the biggest challenge. But I, I always challenge that thought because a lot of times it's not that you don't have enough money, it's more so you don't know what to do with what you have.
That's such a great point. So, what kind of resources, like, where do you direct them? I mean, if you kind of guide them towards coming up with, a palette and thinking about, different accents or whatever, like, if people are on a budget, where do you send them? I mean, can people, work with you and find stuff at Home Goods or, I mean, what are the kinds of places should they think about?
Well, one, I always recommend shopping at home. You probably have some things at home that you can decorate with. You just didn't, again, just didn't know how to do it. Um, I love Home Goods. That's a good store. But also, I would recommend starting with what I call my signature framework because people want to jump into decorating, but when you do that, that's when all of that overwhelm and frustration and second guessing comes into play. You really need to back up 2 steps and start with the dream phase of decorating. Then plan what you've dreamt about for your home and then decorate. So that's actually what I recommend people start with.
Oh, that's such a great point that you kind of jump in and get 10 steps ahead of yourself. And I also love the idea of shopping at home. I mean, what kinds of things, like when you have decorated your house, what kinds of things have you shopped at home for? Tell us about that process. Because my husband would tell you that I have way too much stuff and that I could 100% shop at home for everything. But I think sometimes people overlook what they have there.
They do. So I'm probably one of the few people that doesn't have a lot of extra like items and decor and clutter like in my basement or in my attic. But with a VIP client back in May, he had a table in her garage that had been gifted and it was just sitting there for months and she didn't know like what to do with it. It wasn't quite her style or her color scheme she was going for. And when I was talking to her about the table she was looking for online, um, they had this gold and black color scheme. And her table in her garage, after we got to talking a bit, it was like a goldish brown top with white legs. And I said, well, you're painting your walls black because she was going for like a modern decor. I said, why don't you paint the table legs black? If you already don't like the table, if it turns out terrible,
Yeah.
you're not losing anything. And honestly, she tried it out and she loved it. It saved her $2,000 because the table she was looking at, the table and chair combos, the total was like 2 grand. And just by trying that trick for something that she didn't quite like, it saved her a boatload of money.
Well, and furniture is so expensive. I mean, if you can upcycle something, that's, such a great solution.
For sure.
So I feel like I need to ask you about this because I just moved. We took a larger house and we moved into a smaller house in Virginia and then sent a moving truck up to Maine. And it was a nightmare. And I wish I was just on your website and I saw that you have all of this information and all of these resources for people when they're moving. And I so wish I had known about that. I think that would have saved me like a million hours of time. Tell me about what you offer for people that are moving or people that are thinking about moving.
I gotta do such a better job of promoting that. So it's called Moving Made Simple. And to tell you the background, like I said, in corporate America, when I moved into this home, I was in IT. So a tech field, and businesses run on technology. So there are certain times of the year, based on the project that you're working on, that you can't just take off. And it was a blackout period. I technically couldn't take off. I'm doing air quotes here. But my boss said, look, I will give you 2 days. That's all. You got a day for closing and you got a day to figure it out. And then you have to come back to work. Um, and mind you, so closing was on Monday. So I had Monday and Tuesday off. On Friday, my son's church group was coming to the house, 13 teenage boys and their small group leader to stay for the weekend for like a church retreat
Stop it. To your new house?
in our new home.
Oh.
No other parents wanted to volunteer. And my husband and I were like, well, this is why we got this big house to have people over. Okay, we'll do it. So I literally had to figure out a way to unpack and to give you perspective. Our current house it's technically like a 6 bedroom with the bedroom in the basement, but it's like a 5 bedroom home. It's a good size home. My husband was flying out of town for work. My kids were in school. And here I am needing to figure out a way to make sure that our house was set up because it was in the middle of the school year. My husband was away and we had people coming in a couple of days. And again, I put on my little make things easy hat. And it all boils down to planning properly and packing properly so that you can unpack really quickly. And so I was able to unpack my entire home in one day by myself. And I didn't really think much of it at the time because I was just doing what us moms do, which is do what we have to do to make things work for our family. And then people started like asking, like, how the heck did you get set up so quickly? And so I decided to document it and package it. And that's how Movie Made Simple came about.
Oh my gosh. Well, as someone who has boxes, stacked to the ceiling in other rooms of the house, I am so envious of this. And I definitely am going to have to check it out. I wish that I had had this one. And I thought I had planned pretty well. And I am a planner, I'm a checklist maker. But I think having something like that would have really made the difference for me for sure. So we've talked a little bit about how you're taking some of these things that people initially sort of think they can do, but then they get into it, like I did with moving and decorating, and realize that, they need some help. And you take some of these things that are overwhelming and complicated and break it down in a way that people can do really easily. So I know that you have got a Decorating Made Easy Jumpstart. Tell us a little bit about that and where people can find it.
Okay, so the Decorating Made Easy Jumpstart actually walks you through the dream, plan, and decorate phase. So the dream phase is where you pay attention to you find out your design style. So there's a quiz, and you also take the reality of how you live and how you want to live and how your family operates, and you put that into your dream for your home. Because when you skip that, that's when you end up with a regret purchase. You might have a beautiful sofa that gets dirty all the time because you and your family snack on it and you got white and you didn't get like fabric protection or something. The plan phase of decorating walks you through choosing the color palette and getting the right sizes and dimensions for your size home and for your curtains and your rugs and whatnot, and coming up with a budget that works for you and a plan to buy things in certain orders in case you can't afford to do everything you want to do right now. And then the decorating part is really, it's the part everyone wants to get to, but it's also the part where I share some design principles that I've broken down step by step so that you do know where to place things in your home so that they look right. So that's the Jumpstart. It walks you through that process in very short 15-minute increments a day for less than a week so that you have time to fit it into your busy schedule. I like to tell people that you can literally go through the Jumpstart while you're sitting in your car at your kid's soccer practice.
Oh my gosh. And this is something that people, myself included, would pay thousands of dollars to an interior decorator to walk through, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's the same step-by-step product or process. Interior decorators and designers don't just start decorating or designing. They literally back you up and would ask you certain questions and lead you through a process to make sure that you like the end result, but it's not really taught to the everyday person. And so I'm breaking it down for you.
Oh, that's amazing. So where can people find it?
So you can find the Decorating Made Easy Jumpstart by going to designyourwayhome.com/jumpstart.
That is amazing. So I want to give people a sneak peek because you are speaking at, and I mentioned you're speaking at the 2022 Stepmom Summit, which is coming up August 25th, 27th. We're so excited because this is one of those areas that I think people really need help with. And I think particularly in a lot of blended families, that's like the last thing you think about when you partner up, right? Like, how are you going to, decorate your common shared living space and blend all your stuff? And merging households is difficult in any kind of circumstance, but especially when you throw in the blended family dynamics and the different challenges they can face. So, without spoiling your presentation, give us a little bit of a sneak peek about what you're going to be talking about.
Yes, so the topic I'm going to talk about is how to make your house a home for your blended family. And I am pulling all the lessons learned from my blended household. Have given birth to two, but I'm a mom of four, is how I like to phrase it. Um, our
That's a
oldest,
lovely way to put it. I love that.
Yeah, our oldest is 27, and she came into my life when she was 6. And then I have, my 19 and 17-year-old, and then I have a niece who's lived with us off and on and still visits during the summers and holidays, very much like a stepdaughter would, and she is 17 as well. So I'm using that experience that I have to walk people through where people go wrong and tend to overcomplicate it when it comes to decorating with a blended family. And then also 5 ways to make your house a home for everyone in your blended family.
I love that. I know when Craig and I when we bought our first house and, when we got married and we're trying to merge all the things, it was a challenge because I had lived alone for a long time and had a ton of stuff. And, Craig was coming into it without that much stuff, frankly, and he had sort of given up a lot of stuff. And blending, it wasn't necessarily figuring out, whose we were going to keep of certain things. It was more like making sure that he didn't feel like he was just moving, even though it was a new house, making sure that he didn't feel like he was just moving in with all my things, making sure that he felt like it was a home and that the kids felt like it was a home too, And I think that's such a challenge for so many blended families out there, right? Is that something that you went through with your own family?
Yeah, so the interesting thing about my husband and I is he's 12 years my senior. So he has, lived a good amount of life and without me or before me, and had a entire household full of items when we got married and moved in together. And it's a process, from, convincing him it was time to get rid of his black dishes and his green leather sofa.
Oh, yes, yes, I have been there. We had an orange sofa that we had to discuss.
Yeah, and incorporating, coming up with our design style as a couple. Yeah, it's definitely a process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that you make this so easy for people. And I think that our stepmoms at the summit are really going to enjoy hearing from you. And reminder for anyone that's listening, you can get into the Stepmom Summit August 25th, 27th. Tickets are free. So you need to sign up and go hear Tamara and get some of her amazing tips for your house. I think this is going to be hugely, hugely interesting to folks. You can head to thestepmomsummit.com and sign up for the wait list and then get your free tickets there. Tamara, this has been so much fun. It's so good to see you again. And I can't wait to see you in just a little bit at the summit.
Yes, it's going to be so fun. I'm glad you're putting this on. This is really good. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, well, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
All right, see you then.
That's it for this week. If you've enjoyed our chat, I hope you'll help spread the word. Share this episode with friends and head on over to wherever you listen to podcasts and leave me a review. And don't forget, for more great stepmom content, head on over to thiscustomlife.com and follow me on social media. Just search This Custom Life on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Until next time, you keep being you and know that we are in this together. See you here next week.